Is Gary Rhodes. He is the president of Reynolds Community College. Gary, when we did the debate, one of the things that you said was riveting, if you remember. You said that you gave a figure, and it was like 50% or something, or 35%.
Could I repeat it?
Huh?
Could I repeat it?
Yes.
Yeah, 1 out of every 4 workers in the greater Richmond region has attended Reynolds Community College, and 1 out of every 3 healthcare workers. That's a wow.
I mean, that is an unbelievable wow. 1 of every 3 healthcare workers.
Yes.
And 25%, that's a quarter, 1 of every 4 people working in the area,
right,
attended for something Reynolds Community College.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talk about making a positive impact on the community you serve. I heard that figure. I was shocked at that. I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere.
Well, I'm not sure that we've seen it anywhere either. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It just hasn't been validated. And it's all about preparing people for life and for careers. Every single thing that we do is tied to those 2 pieces.
Now, how have you been able to kind of walk us through the history of Reynolds Community College and kind of how you guys started and where you're headed now?
Well, here in Virginia, the community college system was created back in the 60s. J. Sargent Reynolds was created in 1972, named after former Lieutenant Governor J. Sargent Reynolds, who passed away, unfortunately, at age 34 from a brain tumor. And we're the newest of the 23 community colleges in Virginia. So we have 3 campuses. We serve close to 19,000 credit students every year, and we serve another 11,000 employees and about over 1,000 employers in specific workforce training, most of that which is non-credit.
Is the workforce-related training?
Yes.
Now, how do you develop that? I mean, how do you come up with the ideas? Do you meet with industry leaders, business owners, and find out what the need is, and then develop the curriculum behind it?
All that and more. And so what we do, not only I as president, but many of our staff are plugged into just about every organization in town that's tied to workforce training. I chair the chamber board in 910, workforce development, economic development. We're plugged into all those committees, and every technical program that we have also has a program advisory committee. That's how we met Barry Moore from Haley Buick. He's on the advisory committee for the automotive technical training program that we have. So we constantly monitor the need and the skills sets that we need, the equipment that we have, because as you can guess, especially in any area related to technology, which means most things nowadays, we have to constantly update and confirm that what we're teaching is really what's needed.
And so what level of involvement, Gary, do you have from business leaders in order to develop these workforce I just find that to be intriguing, because it's not, I mean, everybody gets community college. You have your core curriculum for an associate's degree, and sometimes people start there and go on to a 4-year college. But when you start talking about workforce training, I mean, this is training for real jobs in the area that you serve. I find it fascinating, like the kind of staff that you would have to have in order to figure out what companies need, and then to develop the curriculum behind it, and then obviously make it work so that it's a value-based system, right?
Well, it is based. And so, John, let me sort of separate it into 2 buckets. And one is the technical skills. We have learned to be good listeners at the community college, my academic leadership and team, faculty and staff. So we will pull together, I'll give you an example, opticianry technician, which we are the only program in the state to offer that. And so we pull in professionals who are actively working in the field. We listen to them, talk about what the technical skills are. They help us define the curriculum. They help us identify people who are able to teach the curriculum. And then we put the training together, and then we have an ongoing relationship, so they monitor that because they hire the graduates of the program. And the last thing I want is to have someone hire a student and come back and say, well, that student wasn't prepared, didn't learn the right things or whatever. So that's the technical side of it. And then believe it or not, about 1/3 of our students are enrolled in courses that will transfer to 4-year colleges and universities. But if you think about it, that's also workforce training, but it's more the soft skills side. In fact, those students are going to then go to a 4-year university, and in fact, if they take all the right classes, they have guaranteed transfer to the state universities here in Virginia. they're going to go on to the 4-year. And why do they want to do that? Because they want to get their bachelor's degree or maybe go on, and then they want to go to work.
Right.
So it's just a stepping stone. It's a step in that ladder to get to work, in either whether it's transfer or if it's the technical career programs.
But either way, it's about real jobs and real work. Now, have other community college sought your counsel, if you will, and said, wow, how have you guys been able to accomplish this? So have you kind of taken this process on the road?
Well, the community colleges here in Virginia, all 23 presidents report to the same chancellor who reports to a state board. And so we meet every 2 months, and we know each other. We have some programs in common. For example, the transfer program is pretty much the same program throughout the state. When we get into technical program areas, then it does vary. So we have nursing. John Tyler has nursing. Not every community college in the Commonwealth has nursing. We're the only automotive technology program between here and Tidewater, for example. So the technical programs are really region-specific, and we don't duplicate services. It's just efficiencies. We can't replicate the equipment and technology and the staffing for every program at every community college. So in that sense, we have to run our operations like a business too.
Makes a lot of, it's interesting. You mentioned, I guess a lot of people don't really figure this out, but there's 23 community colleges in Virginia, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
As you were saying, Dr. Rhodes, they all of the presidents have a 6-time annual meeting, right, every other month, and you all report up to the same guy.
Right. We report to Chancellor Glenn Dubois, who is
or gal.
Right, it's a guy who is our chancellor for the community college system here in Virginia. Yes.
And that's and so how did you before I go to a word from our sponsors, Dr. Rhodes, how did you evolve into being president of the college?
Well, I was president. My first presidency was in Minnesota, and frankly, I received a phone call from one of the presidents who was in Virginia at the time. He and I had built a brand new college together from scratch up in Maine, and so I left Maine and went to Minnesota for my presidency. He came here and went to Central Virginia Community College, and I loved Virginia. I'd been here before, so how can anyone not love Virginia? And so I applied, and of 65 applicants, I was the lucky guy.
Fantastic. Well, you've done a phenomenal job. Again, that percentage that you read, 25% or 1 out of every 4 people working in your area,
in the region, attended something at Reynolds Community College. That's unbelievable. It's exciting, isn't it?
It really is exciting. I mean, everybody wants to have an impact on society or the people they serve or the people in their influence. That's those of us in the kind of work like we do, which is whether it be media or whether it be education, you want to have an impact. And to be able to say that, my college impacts 25% of everybody in the area, it's unbelievable.
So, John, sometimes I almost feel embarrassed. I'll be visiting someone at one of our hospitals, and they'll walk up to me, usually wearing scrubs, and they'll say, Dr. Rhodes, how are you? And I'll say, great, how are you doing? And how do you know who I am? And the response is, well, you shook my hand at graduation. I tell you what, that makes me feel really proud.
See, that is really fantastic. You ought to feel very proud about the impact that you've made. I want you to tell us about your Advanced College Academy and how that works.
Well, thank you, John. The Advanced College Academy is a program that we started actually 4 years ago, and the reason we just had our first completers, and it was a partnership that the superintendent of Henrico County Public Schools and I came up with. And basically what it is, it's kind of like a governor's school in the sense that students from Henrico schools come from all over the Henrico County, not just one particular school. But then they end up being accepted into this program, and they stay together all 4 years as a cohort group. So, and they happen to meet at J.R. Tucker High School, and they take their first classes, first years and second years together with their high school teachers. But starting their third year, they actually take college classes at their high school. And so they end up finishing their 4-year program, graduating with a 2-year associate degree at the same time that they get their high school diploma. In fact, because high school graduations are in June and our college graduates in May at the Siegel Center, they actually walked across the stage and got their associate degree in May, a couple weeks before they got their high school diploma.
That's unbelievable. Now, what was the catalyst for that, Dr. Rhodes?
Well, the advantage to it is that it saves the students a lot of money because they can get a 2-year degree, 2 years of college credits, and then go to the four-year university and basically go there as a junior. In fact, one of the students looked me in the eye and said, "Dr. Rhodes, but wait a minute, won't I lose 2 years of like fraternities and football and all that?" And I said, "Absolutely not. You can still go to college for 4 years, but you can finish your master's degree." So the parents love it, the students love it. It's a real win-win for everyone.
Right. So if you play, let's say you're playing baseball, like I did. That's how I got through college. So let's say you're playing baseball and you got 4 years of eligibility. You could take your what would normally be your junior and senior year if you didn't redshirt. You can go and get your master's, right?
Right. I believe so.
And still have the same type of eligibility.
And so yes, and so we had our first graduating class this last May, and now we've started a second group in Henrico County. We also have one started in Goochland County Public Schools, Powhatan County Public Schools, and we'll have two starting in Hanover schools a year from now.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
very exciting. Very visionary.
Thank you.
No question. And, sometimes you look at community colleges and, they're involved in different things, but I think from a layman's point of view, you don't necessarily look at the community college system as visionary education. That's certainly changing in Virginia. But you're really, Dr. Rhodes, the embodiment of what a community college is, serving the community that they're in. And the track record that you guys have and the impact you've made is unbelievable. And it's been an honor to have you on. And I can only imagine what you guys are going to do in the future.
Well, thank you, John. It's exciting. I'm sort of like the symphony conductor and my staff, and I'm surrounded by master musicians in many different ways. So it's exciting what we do every day. It's never dull, and we're making a huge difference here in Central Virginia.
Well, you have a fabulous team, no doubt. I work with two of your associates, obviously, putting on the debate. You guys were fabulous. I mean, that was just so easy to do. And we also work with your marketing group on they do some advertising with us in various venues that we have. And every time I come in contact with your team, everything is just fabulous. So,
well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You've got a heck of a staff.